Hello, America and the world. This is Radio Free Market, and I am your host, Michael McKay. We are behind the lines of socialism, my friends, and Radio Free Market is the voice of free people and free markets. Folks, this is a call-in show today, and our topic is understanding the basic principles of how free people and free markets grow or are lost with Dr. Paul Cleveland. So please call us with your questions at 1-800-313-9443. Again, that's 1-800-313-9443. Folks, today we're going to have a fascinating show. First, I'd like to say hello to our special commentator, Ms. Zoe Russell. Hello, Zoe.
Hello.
Welcome. So next, I would like to welcome our guest this week, Dr. Paul Cleveland. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Michael. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thank you very much for joining us. Folks, Dr. Cleveland is a professor of economics at Birmingham-Southern College in Birmingham, Alabama. Paul's written an excellent book called Unmasking the Sacred Lies, Unmasking the Sacred Lies, which gives an excellent historical understanding of how America has arrived here in its current condition. In fact, I think the subtitle of his book should be Telling the Stories of America's True Economic History. Now, his book was written, I believe, because I think you mentioned in one of your other writings there, Paul, because so many of your new students were coming into your classes with so many myths that they first had to unlearn. Is that so?
Right. That's absolutely correct. And, they're almost ignorant of history, of American history and as it really was, or they've bought into something that, an explanation of the facts that couldn't possibly be true if you think about economic principles.
Well, we all grew up with these sacred lies, as you put it, which has caused us to become, I think, little by little less and less free. So, folks, I would love to have you all read his excellent book, Unmasking the Sacred Lies, which, by the way, we are featuring on our website at radiofreemarket.com. But since we cannot read the whole book on the show with you today, Paul, we're going to start by establishing a few of the foundational principles that you bring out in your book. So, let's start here. I loved how in a few pages you very simply laid out what I call foundational American principles. So first, let's talk about the difference between freedom and liberty as not being licensed to do whatever one has the impulse to do. Would you explain that to us?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that is really important. Everyone believes in freedom and liberty when you put it out like that, but what do we mean by those terms? A lot of people think that they means that they ought to be able to do whatever they want, even if it turns out badly that somebody else should have to pay for the consequences of their poor behavior. And of course, that's not at all what the founders conceived of as freedom and liberty. I mean, in their view, you were free, but you were responsible to bear the burden of the consequences of your own actions.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's really important to think about in those terms. If we boil it down from there, there are only certain human rights, the right to life, liberty, and property. But there would be no rights, such as Franklin Roosevelt's Second Bill of Rights with, the right to a job or the right to education or the right to health care. None of these things could be a right because they can't be universally established for everyone. And government can't, it's not divine who can call something into existence that didn't exist beforehand. So
right.
Unless you believe in fairies, the tooth fairy or something, you're going to reject that kind of point of view.
Well, this is a great start. Unfortunately, we have a break right now, and we're going to come back in just a minute. And folks, when we come back, we're going to have to Dr. Paul Cleveland, and we're going to be talking more and more about these foundational principles of free people and free markets. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.